Hello, this is your chaplain, Eric Kieselbaugh with Shepherd Care, spending a few moments today looking at a public servant's response to mental illness. And I'm going to be reading a little bit more, so if you see my head bowed, it's because I want to stay true to my outline. This is important. Facts. In communities across the United States, city statistics show that approximately 7% of all police contacts involve a person believed to have a mental illness. When you also factor in emotional disturbances, then this statistic increases dramatically. In one study of 331 people with severe mental disorders who were hospitalized, 20% reported being arrested or picked up by police at least one time in their lives for a crime sometime in the last 4 months prior to their hospital admission, most commonly for alcohol or drug or other public disorder crimes. This statistic is shared by dispatch, fire, and law departments. It's included in every public service arena that impacts the public. So unemployment, access or limited access to community resources, the situations of life, all reveal that this statistic will just increase. It has the potential to get alarmingly high. So once we identify that this issue is there, then really it's a first responder. It's those in the public service that are responding to this, and so how can we deal with that? So we see like a family member or friend, they call a person, they call the police for help during a psychiatric emergency. A person with a mental illness feels suicidal, they call the police. The police encounter a person with mental illness behaving inappropriately in public. Citizens call 911, the dispatch, and law enforcement arrive because others feel threatened by this unusual behavior. A family finds a person unresponsive or acting erratically. They're calling 911 for EMS. So as we respond, most people with a mental health diagnosis do not behave violently. Let's just say that up front. If there's a statistic that says in a lifetime, 65% of people will actually have a mental health diagnosis. That could be something simple like your grandmother passes away and you have a hard time with the grief. That's normal. Or it could be something more severe, very clinical, like depression, bipolar. There's so many. And so if we approach this with preparation, we understand how people can behave, we observe, and we want to rely on our training, kind of separate the emotional and be very more analytical in a situation, be calm. We have an expectation. So if we keep our presenting of ourselves, our appearance, our verbal communication. We don't want to escalate, we want to de-escalate. Peer support. We're not in this alone. We want to get those around us to support us as we're doing our jobs. We want to understand that if a person has been identified with a condition, then we can monitor this maybe as a department level and try to put more resources in certain specific areas once we determine that there is a statistic. And then we want to make sure that we understand the department and the community's policies and procedures regarding the mental health. In Virginia, we have the Community Service Board. The whole state is divided into regions and districts so that we can provide help at a local level. In summary, recognizing and understanding symptoms is vital when relating to those in the community living with mental illness. In some cases, an individual might misunderstand or be unable to follow the deputy's orders or the EMS person's order because of symptoms that might be presenting. It is important to keep the concept of harm in mind when addressing this problem because there's a tendency to simply define people with mental illness as the problem and getting them out of sight as the solution. In contrast to most first responders and law enforcement problems, however, this is not one that involves wholly voluntary behavior. Rather, it involves behavior that medical conditions cause or compound. Consequently, first responders have to be careful not to blame people with mental illness, but instead focus on the behavior that causes harm to self or others. So let's rely on our training, because lack of understanding can result in facing unnecessary aggression and possible incarceration that's not necessary for that individual. When all public service personnel partner with the mental health community for education, for support, for training, they can combat the stigma, save lives, and improve the quality of life through respect and understanding, and this can dramatically affect the whole community. Thank you for your time. Take care.